On this episode of the Conscious Business Podcast, we actually start out by talking about our childhoods. We go back to picking on Justin a little bit and talking about his relationship with his mother and how supportive she was and his other family members in his career change over to being a mortgage broker. And we also talk about how we portrayed ourselves at the beginning of our career, like what our image was versus what we show up as today. So enjoy the episode. This is the Conscious Business Podcast.
Okay, so funny story before we get back on the topic. My mom was a bigger lady, bless her heart. And I remember one time she was like, I tried to like run out of the house and she's like, if you ever do that, like I'll catch you. And I was like, yeah, right. You're fat. I'm going to get past you. So I don't know, months went by and I did something wrong again. And I was like, gone. And I tried to take off. That lady caught me so fast. I thought I could outrun her. And then she beat me with a wooden spoon.
Again, I don't blame her.
I vividly remember the thought. That was when my mom passed. This was the memory that continually went through my head for like weeks. Was like, I remember I'm like, I got this. I play soccer. I'm outside playing all the time. I'm going to get away from you. No problem.
How old are we talking about here?
Probably like 8.
Oh, I thought we were talking like 16, 17. Your mom tackled you.
No. 8. No, but another funny story. So my mom was a police dispatcher for the city that we live in. And I was single mom, like I was super open with my mom, good relationship. So like 15, 16 and onwards, I'd always be like, oh, I'm going to like Nicole's house party. It's like blah, blah, blah address, whatever the case was, right? I wasn't necessarily like a troubled kid, but I definitely drank and like partied, did things I wasn't supposed to. But I would always get thrown into the drunk tank. Always. I've probably been in the drunk tank over 100 times. Just between like 15 and 19. So not even like legal at the bar being into shenanigans. Just at house parties.
I'll be open here. I've never been in the drunk tank.
I've never been arrested.
Yeah, like partitions, like are you with like inebriated men of much older age than you? Or like
in the drunk tank?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, there's no children's section.
I was going to say.
But so it wasn't until later on that I remember like I was like 21 or 22 and I asked my mom and she's like, oh yeah, I would just like call in favors and they would go pick you up for me. Because I like didn't want you out of the house past midnight. I knew you weren't going to come home. So I'd call like officer so-and-so to go just pick you up.
So she got you thrown in the drunk tank on purpose?
Yeah.
That's
now, did it cost
gangster.
her like a coffee or something?
Probably. My mom did 37 years with the local PD, so she was like a fan favorite.
She bought a few coffees.
Yeah.
There was one time though, I was obliterated, and she in dispatch because at the time each municipality had their own dispatch. So like the city we live in it was in-house, so they had cameras where it was their responsibility to watch the cells in case anything happened. So of course one is the drunk tank. So this idiot's in the drunk tank, starting off the night, and I only know this because I've been told by my mom. She would never let me live this down. I started the night off with just my shirt, jeans, and a hat, and I started punching in the walls because obviously I was mad that I was no longer at the party. So they came and put a restraint jacket on me, so my arms were tied up. So then I would get back to the door after...
Just to be clear, you were punching a concrete wall?
Like... metal door.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better.
It wasn't
better than concrete.
Didn't feel better. So then I started kicking it. So they restrained my legs.
What's that word for less than optimal?
Yes. It gets better. Don't worry. So then they restrained my legs. So then I would hop over to the door and I kept smashing my head off the door. So they put a football helmet on me. And then I was hitting that concrete wall with the football helmet. And so when they would come in here and deal with me, I would spit at them. So they turned it backwards on me. Okay. So when I woke up in the morning, and I want you to keep in mind, my mom is watching this with her 4 other shift mates on camera.
Proudest mom ever.
Yeah, like
that's my boy.
I woke up in the morning covered in blood, splitting headache with a backwards football helmet, restrained jacket, and my legs tied.
Wow.
So I've never been arrested. I got pulled over a couple times for speeding.
I'm pretty sure the cops were called once when we were playing flashlight tag outside as a kid in our cul-de-sac.
So yeah, it was fun times.
How did we get there?
Yeah. So
Was your mom like supportive of your career change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My aunt was not though.
Because she did it.
Yeah.
Because you kind of were easing your way into her business.
So two aunts. I had two aunts. My one aunt that was a full-time broker, had been a broker for, I don't know, forever. I considered her my rich aunt. I always thought of her as like wealthy, and she always had like nice cars, nice houses, things like that. She passed away before I got the opportunity to work with her.
Mm-hmm.
So my other aunt did about 5 years, I think, of like kind of working with her, like under her as a broker as well. She was not very successful.
So did she ever tell you the reasons why you shouldn't?
Yeah, she said like it was super hard, like to try and sell yourself, to find clients, have people trust you with their finances. She tried to give me the example of like, because she's in her 70s now, so at the time she probably was still maybe late 60s. She's like, somebody like myself is going to want to give you like take financial advice from somebody that's 20, 25, or 26.
Well, I mean, if they can't take advice from someone just because they're younger, then that's on them.
Yeah. Well, it was like, for me, I was like, like if that's the way you want to look at it, then that's fine.
Yeah, if you're going to look at the glass half empty all the time, then you go have your half empty glass. I'm going to take this half full glass over here and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it.
I mean too, like, so I had a regional district job, so it was like a city job, good pension, all that stuff. And like my uncle, her husband, was a police officer, so like they came from that like super set up, like do your time, here's your pension, you're looking after like life, right? So for her it was like, why are you leaving this Growly Hale? Growly? Wow. Holy grail. There we go.
So that was the creme de la creme in your aunt's eyes because you had a government paid job with a pension?
Yeah.
the drip,
Ugh.
The golden handcuffs.
Ugh.
golden handcuffs.
That makes me sad.
It's scary to like. It is. It's an amazing thing to be able to look at your paycheck every 2 months and set up bills accordingly and figure out your finances on a consistent frequency. But there's more, right? And they just expect you to do the same job over and over and over and over and over and over. And if you start out when you're 18 in that job, you're going till 65. And who knows, maybe the federal government will push old age pension further than 65. We're not there. We're 30 years away.
Maybe we're going to be
For
alive
myself.
till 120.
Well, that's even
Right?
like my girlfriend's mom. She's a nurse, and they changed stuff in their bargaining agreement, and so like it's messed up her retirement plans now.
Totally.
Right? So
After she's put in X amount of years.
yeah, and she's already been there for I don't know, God knows how long, 30
Yeah.
years at this point.
So what else did she have? Did she have in her like deeper reasons? Like, did she see how her sister was while she was busy and not want to have other people in her life be that way? Or was there anything else pushing you or her pushing you away from being a broker?
Well, I think I didn't exactly give off the business-esque type person, right? So I got
Now you're the headbutting a cement or steel wall kind of guy.
Steel. It was metal, man. It was metal. Better than concrete.
metal has a little bit of give, okay? Just saying.
It does. You're right.
But yeah, I think that played a role in it too. Like, you know, I was coming from a world I fit in really well to a world that I did not.
What about
At least I didn't think I did either at the time, right?
Yeah.
So
back then when you first started out? What image did you want to portray to people, and then we'll go on to what image you want to portray today to people, because it definitely has evolved, right?
yeah, so I definitely started out wearing like a suit every day. Like I went to Moore's, dropped like $1,000 on new clothes. Like I bought like what I thought were at the time were nice watches that looked way more fancy than they were. Like I wanted to portray like a business guy. I did that for probably, wore a suit every day, probably 8 months. Probably, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the Conscious Business Podcast. There'll be another episode next week. Tune on in.